Okay, here we are trying to do an emphasis lecture, and Big Blue Button isn't letting us do anything. So I'm just going to do it on a video. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. This is not how this was supposed to go down. But it's 2020. I hear that things are supposed to be bad. Like you're supposed to expect the worst. But I'm an optimist. I'm always like, you know what? It's all going to be better tomorrow. But for today, we're living in the mess and the muck and the mire. So I'm going to take these broken pieces and try to craft a lesson out of it so we can move forward. All right, so video lecture 6.2 through 6.3 and Khan Academy 6.2 and 6.3 will be due by Thursday or whenever you get around to it. In addition, if you didn't get a chance, which I'm sure you didn't, to do CB 6.1, do that. This video here is going to be optional for you. But if you're hearing me talk about it being optional, you already started, so you might as well just keep on going. Here we go. I want to talk about the review of the review of the review. Friends, the exam is coming, or it's not, but we think it's going to come. And when the exam gets here, you want to be prepared. Some of you have already started to do preparations. I want to tell you that review materials are available for you right now, today on Canvas. Put little indicators or titles and organize the reviews materials based on what I think the best practice is. There are way too many materials for you to use all of them. So pick the things that you think will actually help you. And I will talk more about those materials and highlight things as we go through in class, hopefully on Thursday. All right. So, concept 6.1, time to emphasize. The emphasis is all about tracking international exchange. So now we're looking at the exchange of goods and services over borders, and the exchange of financial assets. Really, even though we try to overcomplicate this in AP economics and really in life, it's quite simple, right? We have the exchange of goods and services on one side and the exchange of financial assets on the other side. That's it. And those two things generally balance out because when I buy goods and services, I'm doing that through the exchange of currencies or financial assets, right? So, generally speaking, if goods are coming in, money is going out, and those two sides should pretty much balance. That's the idea. So, point number one is understanding that balance. So, let's check it out here. We have a current account on one side. We call this kind of the one and done account. And then we have the financial account on the other side. So, for the current account, we have three major items, and you just got to memorize these. So, if you're a memorization person, this is perfect for you. On the left side, we have the balance of trade. Balance of trade is exports minus imports. Remember to follow the flow of the money. We don't care about where the goods and services are going. We don't care about where the financial assets are going. We care about the flow of the money. That's what impacts this balance because we're balancing it based on money. So if I am exporting a good, they get my good, but I get the money. So the flow of the money is in, we call that inflow, that is positive or a credit in the balance of trade account. When I import good, I get the goods, they get the money. Money is flowing out of our economy. We call that outflow. That is negative. That is a debit in this account. Inflow minus outflow will give you the balance or the net every single time, right? So for this one, we have $100. Net investment income, same idea with the inflow and outflow. It's about the money you're making on previously held investment. So you already own that business overseas, or you already own that property overseas, or you already own those financial assets overseas, and those things are generating income for you. When you make money off of the property you own in Sweden, that money flows in. That's inflow to the United States. That is a positive. That would be a credit in the net investment income. But when the Swedes get money from the bowling alleys that they own in America, well, that money is flowing out of the American bowling alleys and to the Swedes. It is outflow. That will be a negative for us, and that will be a debit in the net investment income. So don't get it twisted. This isn't net assets purchased. Not when I bought the bowling alley. It's when I made money off of it. We call those dividends. Income made off of an investment is a dividend, right? Next up is net transfers. Net transfer is pretty self-explanatory, right? The United States does a lot of foreign aid. So when we give aid to another nation just to help them out because they were hit by a tsunami or something like that, that is outflow, that is negative, that is going to be a debit in our net transfer account. And then whenever people give us aid, like in Hurricane Katrina, we got a lot of international aid. That'll be inflow, that'll be positive, that'll be a credit, right? One of the big net transfers here is remittance. That's when somebody takes money that they earned and they send it home to their family overseas, right? So keep that in mind. That's another type of transfer. But remember, it's just inflow minus outflow. Money coming in, money going out. If you keep that in mind and you've memorized these categories, you'll be in good shape. Financial account used to be known as the capital account. In fact, on College Board, they always say the financial, previously referred to as the capital account every single time. Weird. But the financial account looks at net assets purchased. So remember, on the current account, it's when I make income off of something. On the financial account, it's when I bought the something that will make me income in the future. So when the Swedes bought the bowling alley in America, that is inflow, money coming in from Sweden to the United States. Inflow, that'll be positive or a credit in the net assets purchased. And then when Americans, for example, buy bonds from Germany, that'll be outflow. We bought their bonds, money is flowing out to them. We get the bonds, but they get the money. Outflow, that'll be negative. That'll be a debit in our net assets purchase. Okay, so when you bought the bond or you bought the property or you bought the company that will make you money in the future, that's going to wind up on the financial account side. And then final one, which we don't touch on very often, is called the capital account. And this is all about forgiveness. Oh, forgiveness. So it's foreign forgiveness minus domestic forgiveness, right? So we owe other nations lots of money. You know this, right? Those nations, sometimes through international diplomacy, forgive our debt. They say, hey, you owed us a bunch of money, but don't worry about it. We call that inflow. When foreign nations forgive American debt, it's money that was going to go out, but it isn't anymore. So we call that inflow, that positive, right? And then when we forgive other people's debt, we call that outflow because we were going to get that money, but we don't anymore. Inflow minus outflow, or foreign forgiveness minus domestic forgiveness, will equal our balance in the capital account. These two sides will always balance. If I have a surplus in the current account, then I have to have a deficit in the financial account. If I have a deficit in the current account, then I have to have a surplus in the financial account. They will always, always, always equal to zero. Okay? All right. With that in mind, here are a couple of examples. Let's try them out. Let's say an individual from Brazil purchases $1,000 of Brazilian leather belts. First thing that you ask is, what category does this fall in? Is this income being made off of something? Is there money being transferred without the exchange of goods or services? Is it the purchase of an asset? Is there debt forgiveness? Or is this the purchase of a good or service? The answer is, well, it's a purchase of a good or service, right? They're purchasing $1,000 of Brazilian belts. So where do we show $1,000 of Brazilian belts? It's going to be right here in the balance of trade. Is that an export or an import? Of course, that's an import. The people from Indiana are importing these Brazilian belts. So when they import, is that an inflow or an outflow? Of course, that's an outflow. That's money leaving our economy. So let me switch over to red, and that's going to show up as a negative or as a debit, as we see down here, an outflow from our economy under the balance of trade. Okay, let's try the next one. A Canadian owner receives $5,000 dividend from properties owned in the United States. What category does this fall under? Of course, this is net investment income. It's money made from properties owned. Is money flowing into the US or out of the US? Well, of course, it's flowing out. It's going to a Canadian owner, right? So $5,000 is leaving. That's outflow. Whenever we have outflow, we know that's going to be negative, and that's going to show up right here. And that's going to move our current account towards a deficit as a result. Okay, third one, a migrant worker in South Sudan sends $3,500 back to his family in the United States. Okay, so what is this? This is a remittance payment. We call it a net or a transfer. Is it inflow or outflow? Is money coming in or money going out? Of course, money is coming in. So this will show up over here Under net transfer, it is a positive. It is an inflow into the United States as a result, right? This is really the crux of what you need to be able to do. All right, an Italian brokerage firm purchases $20,000 in US bonds. What's this? This is net assets purchased. Net assets purchased means we bought, or the Italians bought, American bonds, a bunch of them. Is that inflow or outflow? Is America having money coming in or money going out? And the answer, of course, is money is coming in. So this will be inflow, will be a credit in the net assets purchase, moving my financial account towards a surplus. Okay. Final one. If the US passes I think it's second to last one actually, passes legislation to forgive $20 million of debt owed by Greece, where does that wind up? Well, that's forgiveness. That's the capital account where forgiveness occurs. So in the capital account, they are willing to forgive. When we forgive Greece, is that an inflow or an outflow? Well, that's an outflow. Money was going to come in, but it's not now. So money is flowing out. We call that an outflow, and that is going to be a negative. Final one. Germany purchased $30,000 of Ohio shaped stickers. What's going on here? Well, is that an export or an import? Of course, that is going to be an export. When exported goods, those Ohio shaped stickers go out, what happens to the money? The money flows in. So we know that this is going to result in a positive in the balance of trade. Okay, really is that simple. Final thing you need to know, clear this up, are the determinants. The determinants can get a little tricky, but remember, all you're thinking of is it moving us towards a surplus, positive, or towards a deficit, negative? And it's all about the flows, okay? So first is the interest rates. Interest rates affect how attractive a bond is to foreign investors. That's all it does. And if it's going to make people want to buy bonds more or want to buy them less, then it's going to impact net asset purchase, which is in our financial account or the right side of our balance sheet. So if interest rates go up in the United States relative to the rest of the world, people are going to want our bonds. That means that other nations are going to buy our bonds. And when they do, there's going to be an inflow of money to the United States in the net assets purchase. So it will move our financial account towards a surplus because more money is coming in. Got it? And vice versa. When interest rates go down, there's going to be more outflow. Money is going to be leaving because in the United States, we're like, why would we buy American bonds? They pay very little interest. We have very low yield as a result. So we'll just buy foreign bonds instead, and money will flow out of the United States when we buy those foreign bonds with higher interest rates. So it'll move our financial account towards a deficit. Okay, interest rates have a direct relationship with the flow of money. Interest rates are up, more money is flowing in, financial account towards surplus. Interest rates are down, more money going out, financial account towards a deficit. Okay, national income is the second determinant. It impacts the foreign nation's ability to purchase our exports. So again, there's going to be a direct relationship, but instead of financial account, it's going to be our balance of trade, which is in our current account. So if the income goes up for a foreign nation, they're going to buy more of everything, including US exports. When they buy our exports, money flows into the United States, yay, and it moves our current account towards a surplus. And vice versa. When income goes down, when nations fall into a recession, for example, then they're less likely to buy everything, including our exports, which means that our exports fall and we have an outflow, moving our current account towards a deficit. Final one, and so backtrack, direct relationship again. Income goes up, we're going to have more inflow. That's for foreign nations. Foreign nations have more income, we're going to have more inflow, and our current account is going to move towards a surplus, and vice versa. Now, if the United States income goes up, we're going to buy more imports. That's important. If it's the US income that goes up relative to the rest of the world, we buy more imports, and it'll be outflow as a result. Okay? Currency appreciation is the attractiveness of the exports again, right? Currency appreciation is just the power or strength of the American dollar. The American dollar depreciates, goes down in value. There's actually going to be more inflow. Think of it this way. the goods that we export will look relatively less expensive because those foreign nations, their currency buys more American dollars. So they're going to buy more of our exports, which we know is inflow, which we know moves us towards a surplus. When the American currency appreciates, there's more outflow. We have more money, our money has more buying power, right? So we're going to end up buying more imports as a result. That means that money is flowing out of our nation because the imported goods look relatively less expensive. So our current account will move towards a deficit. That, in other words, there's an inverse relationship between the value of the domestic currency and the flow of the money. That's it. That's everything you need to know for this one. You have a lecture video and you have a CB available for you. Good luck. And I will see you on Thursday in person, please.